Well, I haven't done one of these videos for a long time now, since the exam got postponed to December. With so much calendar time, it hardly seemed worth it to remind you that time was running out. But coming into the end of May, July coming up, it's time to start looking at that calendar again. If you're a level 3 candidate and you're writing in December, it's time to get back into it. The little vacation time is over. If you haven't begun, or if you've left your studies incomplete for the last little while and you're just getting back to it, let's have a look at what we have. You have 190 days to the exam. And for level 3, I'm going to say less 35 days of review. Level 1 and 2, I always say less 28 days, and I always stress that that's a minimum. Here I'm saying 35 is a minimum because you really want to work those AM exams. And you really want practice in how you construct those responses. So giving yourself extra time, I think, really matters. Less 35 for review. You got 155 days, about 22 weeks, or 38 readings. At level 3, that's about 1 3/4 readings per week that you would have to get through. And some of these readings are long. They are far more, I think, holistic than at level 1 and level 2. Level 1, level 2, you have all of these standalone readings. At level 3, the readings tend to bring in a whole bunch of stuff that you should already know and apply it in a much larger portfolio management sense. So you're going to find, if you haven't done a deep dive on some of these readings at level 3, that there are callbacks to level 2 and callbacks to level 1, where there's terminology used and concepts that are used where you're simply just expected to know it at that point in time. So if you have some holes in your knowledge from level 1 and from level 2, this is where it shows up. It shows up at level 3, all those little holes, because it just assumes you know it and it starts applying it and using the language. So you may have to go back and review a little bit from level 1 and level 2. So when I say 1 3/4 readings per week, that doesn't include any time for callbacks if you need those callbacks. So let's have a look at what we offer. For anyone who is familiar with our company, you'll know that you'll never see us advertise anywhere because advertising has a cost. And if we spend money on advertising, we have to charge more. I know of 2 particular companies in this industry that charge, significant dollars for their packages. But their customer acquisition costs are around $250 US per customer, which means when they think of all the advertising that they're spending and all the customers that they get, it costs them about $250 US per customer to get it. So they have to start there, $250 US. We're 380 Canadian. If you take the exchange rate, we're $275 US. That's almost the customer acquisition cost of some of the bigger players in the industry. When they spend money to get you, they got to get at least that. So here's what you get from us. A video for all the readings. And I don't do high-level reviews. I don't just hit the main points and off you go. I don't say, remember this, memorize this. I derive every formula. I explain everything. I treat this as if you were sitting in a university classroom. And I teach it the same way. I teach it for understanding. I'm not teaching to an exam. I'm teaching so that you understand it, so that you are good and great in your profession. And by the way, you'll pass the exam, but I do not teach to the exam. Okay? End of chapter question videos. So after every reading, there's all the end of chapter questions. Sometimes the answer explanation isn't really good enough for you to understand, well, why is it not B? You're telling me why it's A, but B sounds logical. Well, that's what I do. I do a video walkthrough of all the end of chapter questions. And for this series of videos, in this series of videos, there's a question forum under each video. So if you still need more explanation, you can ask your question, and other candidates can answer you, or if I see the question, I'll answer it. If I get flooded with a lot of questions sometimes, so I may not get to it, but that's why it's a forum. Other candidates can answer it as well. Review videos for almost every reading. I don't do review videos for ethics because you kind of just got to know the whole thing. It's hard to review something with so much little detail. And I think there's 2 other readings where it's full of tiny detail that doing a review video would be just as long as a main video. But every other reading, I think has a review. So that would be 30 review videos out of the 38 readings. Seminar videos. This is where I take a difficult topic, one where I see a lot of questions clustering around, and I break it down really nice and easy. So if you've been with me in level 1 or level 2 and you've seen some of the seminar videos I do there, that's the same thing. I take these difficult concepts and I break them down, and the seminars are around a concept where it is designed to get you 2 or 3 extra points on the exam. Sometimes there's difficult concepts, but I look at it and I say, this is not testable though. There would be no point in really diving deep on this. It's not testable. All the seminars are really designed to get you those extra points on the exam. Question bank, and these are formative questions. There's a difference between summative and formative. Summative is meant to test you. Formative is meant to help you learn. So our question bank is full of questions that are also helped to teach you at the same time. 1,734 multiple choice questions across all the 6 books. 4 full mock exams, AM and PM. In our AM version, we have an enhanced answer key, which tells you exactly how to award points. It doesn't just say 6 points for this answer. 1 point if you say this, 2 points if you say that. There's another 2 points if you say. We break it down so that you can actually attribute points to things that you said. And we offer a video walkthrough. For the AM answer, oftentimes it's not how you answer the question per se, it's the message that you convey. So sometimes you can say the same thing 5 different ways. Well, it's the message that you're conveying that's important, not so much the exact specific words that are important. The combination of the enhanced answer key and the video walkthrough enables both peer grading and self-grading, which means you can grade your own exam, or if you know another level 3 candidate, you can swap exams. If they're both subscribers to the site here, you can swap exams and grade each other's exams using that enhanced answer key in the video walkthrough. And 2 past CFAI exams, we have permission to use these, upgraded to 2020 content. There have been some changes in level 3, so the past AM exams are not completely relevant anymore. Some of it is, some of it isn't. Where it isn't, we've upgraded the question to reflect what 2020 content should look like. So there's those 2. We overlay it with our upgrades. We also write an enhanced answer key for each question and provide a video walkthrough. So in total, you'll have 6 AM exams, 4 PM exams. You have a very large question bank, and I think some of the best questions on the market are in that one. I wrote them, and I've seen a lot of writers. We've gone through a lot of writers and just passed on them. So, it may sound proud of me to say it, but I do think they're some of the best questions that you're going to find in a question bank, a multiple choice style at level 3. And here I'll discuss our AM exam workshop. By the way, our cost, like I said on the other screen, is $380, and you have 190 days. If you divide that out, you're basically paying $2 a day for all that content. $2 Canadian a day for all that content. Let's talk about the AM exam workshop. This is something we were going to do over a weekend. When the June exam was still on, we were going to do it in one weekend. And it was really designed to get you into the AM exam. That's all it was going to do. We were going to drill questions on the AM exam with a whole bunch of different keywords. How do you answer questions that are determined and justified? How do you answer the calculate questions? And we were going to drill for 2 days straight on questions. And then peer grade each other's, because I think it is important when you grade somebody else's paper, you know what it feels like to be a grader. You're reading it. It makes you a better writer of the answer, because now as you're writing the answer, you're saying, well, hang on now, somebody has to read this. And the easier it is for them to read and understand, the easier it is for them to grade. You learn that only by grading other people's chicken scratch. And when you say, I can't read this, you understand that you will not do that to a grader as well, right? Well, we were going to have it over a weekend, but we have to move it to November because we are uncertain as to what November will look like. Uncertain in the sense of, is the virus going to come back again in the fall? Most experts you listen to say it's highly likely that it's going to show up again in the fall. Well, what's that going to do to travel? Is there going to be a quarantine if you fly into Canada? Are you going to have to self-quarantine for 14 days? If that's the case, well, then there's no point in showing up unless you're Canadian. Are we going to be allowed to have 30, 40, 50 people in a room together? Right now there's a provincial restriction on that. So with all of that going on, we thought, you know what, we can't wait to see what happens. Let's just move it online now and figure out how do we make it work online. So instead of one weekend, we're going to spread this out over 3 weekends. And instead of covering the equivalent of 2 full AM exams, we're going to cover the equivalent of 3. So we're going to spread it over to 3 weekends, and we're actually going to do more. So there's November 13th, 14th. We're going to take up mock exam 1. I have 2 days here because I don't know how many people we're going to have, and I'm prepared to spread out to have multiple sessions so that everybody has a voice. And the next week in 2021, we'll cover mock exam 2, and 27, 28, we'll cover mock exam number 3. The cost per weekend is $240, or it's $720 for all 3. There is peer grading. We will have a system, all automated, a system where you will upload your PDF. Somebody else will be assigned your PDF. There'll be no names on it. It'll automatically be assigned a number. And they'll grade it using an Excel sheet, which already has all the drop-down menus. You don't even have to think about it. You just have to drop down menus. Does it say this? Then award a point. Does it say this? Award 2 points, etc. And then after the seminar is over, you will, within half an hour of that, have access to your grade, graded by somebody else who's more objective than you are, but guided by the enhanced grading key that we have, and there's an extended online review. This is a live session where it begins with me saying, okay, question number 1, this is what it looks like. I will discuss the structure of the answer. In other words, how would you answer a question that says determine and justify? What is the appropriate way to answer it in the time allotted? You don't want to write essays, right? Yeah, I'll explain how to answer based on that structure. Then I'll go into the content, which means there'll be a tutoring session involved as well as, okay, well, if we got this wrong, we got it wrong because we didn't understand this question. Here's what it's asking. Here is the answer to this particular question and why it's the particular answer. So if you're in it for 3 weekends, exam 1, 2, and 3, the content that is covered is very extensive across, you're going to have 30 AM style questions with multiple parts. You're going to cover and see most of the content in a question style format, the structure of the answer and the content of the answer. And these sessions, depending on how many people are in each one, if they go on 5-6 hours, in other words, if I'm tutoring and explaining for that long, that's okay. I'm not setting a time limit on these weekends. I'll start a session and I'll go until we're done all the answers. So you will get a very good understanding in how to answer based on the structure of the question and based on the content. You'll grade someone else's exam, which will make you understand what it feels like to be a grader. And only when you know what it feels like to be a grader can you then answer a question to appeal to the grader. In other words, you want to make it easy for the grader to give you marks. You don't want to make it hard. These are $240 each. You must be a subscriber to our site to be able to buy one of these weekends. You can't buy it from outside. This is a great alternative to paying for a grading session because you're going to get a much broader exposure to all the different types of possible answers there could be as opposed to just your answer and why your answer is wrong. We'll look at, because there'll be a bunch of questions and answers. Well, what if I said it this way? What if I said it that way? So you'll get a broader view of, yes, that's acceptable. And if you said it this way, or if you said it that way, there is a shortage of good graders on the market. This is an excellent alternative to a grading session. And I believe that in the future, with the enhanced grading key, the video walkthrough, and the peer grading, it will be as effective as any one-on-one grading session. Well, there it is.